Welcome back to Great Day, the golden years. Whether in-home, inpatient, or at camp, hospice care has many different faces, and none of them have to be sad. It's all about quality of life for everyone involved. Bryn Hingle is a nurse and executive director with Houston Solari Hospice Care. Hi there.
Hi.
That used to be kind of the idea of hospice in people's minds, but you're here to dispel that myth.
Yes, ma'am. Most people believe that hospice is about the last hours, days of someone's life, but it's really not. What hospice is really about is quality of care and quality of life. And it's proven that if you get into hospice 6 months out, when you're diagnosed with that terminal illness, and they say it's likely that you're going to transition within 6 months, then that's the time to get into hospice, because we can do so much for you financially, relieve the financial burden as well as the caregiver burden. And let's talk a little bit more about that. The caregiver burden is one of those things that, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind until it happens. And eventually it will happen for a lot of people. And when we talk about that burden, it really is tough for a lot of people, because you're having to keep your good spirits up to be the caregiver, but it's a sad situation for you as well, very taxing. That's where you all can step in. This is what you do. Yes, ma'am. We come into the home and we relieve that burden, because our goal is not only to take care of that patient, but also to take care of that caregiver.
Yeah. You say coming into the home. So there's different types of programs. You have the in-home program, and you were saying earlier that, especially that 6 months out, you find a lot of times patients will live far beyond what they were predicted to live because that quality of life was there.
Yes, because when you do have people coming into your home, and we have an interdisciplinary team that comes into the home, from the nurse to the aide to the social worker to the chaplain to volunteers. When that patient's feet start to swell, we see it the day, not 3 weeks later. So we can start taking care of that patient right then.
And you have that medical background to know how to do that. Okay, then there's the inpatient hospice home.
Yes, we have an inpatient hospice home, and that is what makes our program very well-rounded. Because when the patient becomes ill, they don't have to go back to the hospital. They can come to our inpatient unit. And our inpatient unit is like a mini intensive care unit. We do IV antibiotics, Lasix, anything that patient might need, we can do in our inpatient unit.
Yeah, but it feels much more homey.
It's very much a home. It was built from ground up to be a hospital home. We even bake cookies every day, so it smells like a home.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Eileen Ponton's mom was an inpatient at Solari, and so you found yourself in that situation with what can we handle and what can we not handle?
Mother had been through the hospital route and was just not getting the care that she needed, and it was, in fact, a friend from an assisted care facility that recommended Solari to us, because we could not afford assisted care living. That was not an option. Mother wanted to stay in her home till the end. We found Solari in December. Mom died, unfortunately, February 6th. But I cannot tell you what a relief it was to find Solari. They really did treat the whole family, as Bryn said. I was in their facility with Mom the last 3 days that she died, and they took as good a care of me as they did of my mom. It was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and there's a picture of your mom right there.
Yeah.
Okay, she looks like she was a feisty one.
Yes, that was taken about 20 years ago. My mother was legally blind, so she was basically housebound 24/7. There was somebody from Solari either calling her or in the house every day. I had to work, so unfortunately I could not be there with her in her last days, but I felt very good that I knew somebody from Solari
Right, that
was
had
there.
to be a big relief.
Yes,
and
definitely.
that when you're leaving, you weren't just leaving her being taken care of.
Right.
You left her with somebody who was like a friend to her.
Definitely, most definitely.
All right. Crystal M. from White was part of an innovative camp that helps kids work through grief of losing a loved one, and family members. Hi.
Hi.
So tell us about what this camp was and how that helped you.
The camp was wonderful. I have 4 small children. They're 6, 8, 10, and 12. And I lost my husband this past November to cancer. And there are lots of programs for adults, but not so many that you can find for children to help them cope with loss and how to deal with grief. So camp was absolutely wonderful in helping us find ways to cope and move forward and find our new normal.
Yeah, this is kind of an innovative thing. I've never heard of a camp for this specific thing before.
This is something that our founder, Gary Polsky, started years and years ago, and they've had like 9 camps in Las Vegas, which is where our sister facility is. This was the first year we've had it in Houston, and yes, it's great. It was unbelievable to watch the children go from not speaking at all about their grief to the last day when we wrote messages on balloons and let them go. The children all just had to just release, and it was just to watch them blossom and bloom and
be able to relate to each other. That strength in numbers really applies here.
It was wonderful.
And then finally, we talked about, you know, the sense of relief that we can provide for you know, family members and things. But I know my parents are very proud people. My mom always says, we don't ever want to be a burden to you. And I'm like, you're not a burden. But she's like, we don't want to be. This also relieves that person that's being taken care of as well.
Yes.
All right. To find out more about Solari Hospice Care, you can find them on the web at solarihospice.com. There it is right there on your screen. Or call them at 713-664-7120. 713-664-7120. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible contribution to the Camp Solari, you can call this number, 877-795-8760, 877-795-8760. You never know when someone in your family might need that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.